Hi, I'm Tim Williams with Dwyer Potter Attorneys. I'm the lead litigation attorney here at the firm and also a partner. I'd like to talk today about osteoarthritis, also called degenerative joint disease. Here we see a very healthy level of the back. We see the two vertebral bodies and also the healthy disc in between. There's lots of cushion, lots of space between the two levels of bone because this disc is nice and healthy, and also the bones have no lipping or spurring or anything. They're nice and smooth. Here you see a portion of the back that's later on in life. We see a little bit of squishing or loss of disc space height here between the two levels of bone. We see that the disc has actually changed color, and that's to signify that it's drying out and becoming less bendable, less malleable, more rigid. And we see just a little bit of lipping starting, like over here. It's just that bone's actually extending out in a way and extending out to where it wasn't early on in life. Here we see a level of the back that's much later in life. It's different for each person, but this would represent somebody on average is in their 70s. We see quite a bit of lipping. That means the bone is actually growing out in a way. These are known as bone spurs or osteophytes. We see that the disc is really dried up, allowing these bone levels to actually come into contact here on the right side. And there's lipping on the bottom too, and that creates some pinching and rubbing of the bones. They can fracture. It can be kind of nasty should there be any sort of inciting event to this level of the spine. And then here we see the level of the spine much, much later in life. And again, it's different for everybody. So this could be someone in their 70s, it could be somebody in their 90s, but for most of us, should we be lucky enough to live that long, our backs are going to look something like this. And so we see quite a bit of lipping, osteophyte formation along the edges of the bones, and they're actually touching each other in several places here, almost interlocked like teeth. And inside, there's still a disc there, but it's very, very dried out, or desiccated, as the doctors would say. So this little gray thing is what used to be the nice, healthy disc that provided lots of cushion between the two bones. It's now dried out, allowing the bones to come into contact, and that can set someone up for quite a painful injury should that occur. So while I explained the degeneration of the main joint in the spine, and that's where the disc rests, let's talk a little bit about the back of the spine, because we have joints back there as well. These are called facet joints. And you actually see the facet joints here and here on each level of the spine here. And what those do is they restrict the spine from hyperextending, And what happens is they can degenerate as well. There's a layer of cartilages in between them. That can break down. There can be some bone spurring that's occurring like we saw on the front of these models. That can happen and cause friction of the bones, bone-on-bone contact, all of which can be painful if there's an inciting event. So while many of us will have this degeneration of our spine as we grow older, most of us will never know that it's occurring because we'll never have symptoms of the degeneration. So while we may have some loss of disc space height, we may have some bone spurring, most of us will never have symptoms and we'll never know what's occurring. However, if there's an inciting event, in other words, an injury, some stresses that are put on that level of the spine, it can cause the symptoms to occur. And insurance companies, unfortunately, look at the underlying degenerative changes and they say, look, it's the degenerative changes that are causing the symptoms. I don't care about the car accident or the fall down the stairs or the slip on the ice or whatever. If there's degeneration here, we're not going to pay. And that's where Oregon law protects people, is under those situations. So I want to thank you for watching this video, and I'd invite you to watch other videos on our website.